Alrighty, welcome back and welcome to season 2. And we've got the perfect guest to kick season 2 off with Matsen, high school teacher, father of 2, and podcaster. Join us today as we discuss how he grew his podcast, how it's evolved from 4 or 5 years ago, all things teaching in high school, and of course, all things parenting. It's a great episode to kick it off, and I can't wait for you guys to check it out.
All right, here he is, the man of many talents, father, gamer, teacher, and podcaster, Matsen. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I'm pretty much just a hobby collection machine. It's just raging ADHD. But yeah, man.
I should say Pokemon collector in there as
well.
Yeah,
definitely. I was admiring all the stuff we got in here, which is awesome. The space is really, really cool, man. So when you hit me up, I was actually really excited because we go back a little bit in that. I think you were one of the trainers at Fifth Stop when I was at Fifth Stop. Yeah, which was pretty cool. So it's nice coming, back down this way and see what it's all like again.
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for coming in, man. That Pikachu, actually, I won that in Japan, the very first attempt on the very first claw machine.
Dude, how good is it?
And I was like, that's it, we're going home. I don't need to do any more claw machines.
It's the best, man. I remember one night I was out, because I had a couple of friends in Japan. We went there with Kia and my eldest daughter, Skylar, and we went out one night, just me and a couple of the other Japanese boys, and literally they went home and I literally parked up in one of those like gachapon or whatever they are places, and dude, I was there with my headphones on and I wasn't even realizing because it's only like 100 yen, so I was putting in like
$1. Yeah,
ended up getting all these. I should actually bring it in for you because I haven't got it set up. It's like the Demon Slayer one.
Oh yeah. But I saw it. It is a little bit like gambling because because the Wolverine was from one of them as well.
Yeah. But they're so good. Like they come out so good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's
like $5 a go at Australia Mall.
Oh dude, it's such a rip off here, but they've just got it down, man. The Japanese people just love. Love the game.
Even you watch them reset the machine.
Yeah.
They'll like purposely make it easier for you to win. Whereas here, they're like, no, let's put it in the corner so they can't get it.
Literally, I did all those machines. I would always bring Skylar with me because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm trying to win her something. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll change it.
Classic.
And my house, like, I'm not giving this to her.
For me. I don't want Demon Slayer.
No way. Yeah, dude. But I love all that stuff. Massive. Yeah, you know me. I'm a massive nerd.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So yeah, we'll go over podcasting and obviously we'll go over some parenting stuff, which is what your podcast is. But we'll kind of go back a little bit. So your main bread and butter for now is teaching.
Yep.
High school teacher. What made you want to get into that?
It's a good question, actually. I hate saying it in this way, but I wouldn't say it was a fallback, but it was always something that I knew I would probably get into. So I started off doing like a laboring and a trade. Didn't like it at all, just wasn't a fan. And then my parents were both teachers. They were like, you can do this. But my biggest thing was I didn't want to go to uni. Like I hated studying, and it was, studying was just never my thing because I could never sit still. So like it was that idea of I knew how to do it, like the teaching part. It's just doing the actual study. But no, it was good. I met a lot of cool friends and I love teaching. Like it's probably one of the reasons why I'm still, very heavily involved in teaching, and I haven't sort of branched out with the cool dad stuff just yet. I just get a really good buzz out of teaching as well. But yeah, it's definitely hectic. There's definitely times where it's hectic, but then you get to school holidays and it's all gravy and it feels good and you feel a little bit recharged, and then you go back for the first week and you're just like, fuck, we're tired.
Do you how do I word this? Can the children, because children are draining.
Yeah.
Do they take a lot of mental energy? Like, do you finish every day and go fucking rooted? Or like some days you go, that was a good teaching day, I feel invigorated?
I always, there's definitely this thing called I call it teacher fitness, where like you almost have a capacity to deal with that sort of stuff more. So there's obviously days where it is a little bit more draining. There's days where you obviously don't get a break. You got to teach like the whole day and you've got all your lessons planned out, which is good. But it's more so like, I guess when like trying to differentiate in classes is definitely very difficult. Like, especially now with the big focus on inclusion. So teachers now are sort of having all different learning types in classes and trying to you have one specific lesson. So you have one point and you have 12 to 13 different ways of getting that point across to kids. And it's like an expectation on you, right? Because you don't want kids in your class to be left out. So that may mean that you have your kids that are really far ahead doing something, and then your kids who are sort of like mainstream doing something, and then you've got your kids who you sort of remediate things for, and it's a balancing act. I mean, you could probably, you know, empathize as well with the fact that, like, you know, when you've got people in the gym training, like, not everyone's the same. You're gonna have to go around, and this person may have no experience. This person might be so experienced that you're like, right, you need to add this, or so it's definitely a balancing act. And I think they always say the thing that fatigues teachers most is the fact that you have to make so many decisions on the fly. So there's definitely times where I get in the car and, you know, having to, like, I guess, sort of like, I don't know, like debrief with yourself in your head, be like, right, that was the day. I've now got 5 hours where I need to go home and be the best dad that I can. And at times that's hard when you're giving so much of your energy to, like, other kids. Yeah. You obviously don't want to go home and pent up all this, like, frustration that you had in the day. You don't want to go home and be a pain in the ass to your own kids.
So put your own playlist on.
Yeah,
Like, psych yourself
literally,
up.
man, literally. And, like, I do things. So, like, I you know, my partner Kia got me into psychology as well, and not just psychology as in, like, oh, you know, I really need to fix myself, but more so, like, you know, problems arise, stress arises. So what are things that I can do to make sure that I'm not stressed? Because it is a stressful job at times. But yeah, the biggest thing I think for me is, as I said before the podcast, behavior management's my thing. So a lot of the day I call it like fake angry. Like, you kind of just put on like a bit of a face, like, whether the kid is listening or not, I don't really care that much, because, like, it's as long as it's not affecting the other kids. But there's times where you do have to, like, step up and go, like, you're doing the wrong thing. This is going to be a problem for you if you don't sort this out. Yeah. So having that sort of firm but fair approach, and it's always tough to get that, because they don't teach that in uni. Like, we do no behavior management in uni.
Which is interesting, because half of teaching is that.
Literally, man, if you can get 80%, so 80% of the job is, you know, putting processes in the classroom to make sure that the kids are doing the right things. If you have really solid processes, like, you put 80% of your effort into that, the actual teaching part's pretty easy. Like, I know some people are going to get pissed off at that, but but that's not taking away. You know, if you're teaching a class and the kids are listening, they're doing it, you've obviously put yourself in really good, you've put in good processes and good routines that the kids follow them. And, you know, so it is tough, and it's tough to talk to first years. So I do a lot of mentoring and being like, and you learn this with age, especially in high school, is like, they're not your friends. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't care what a 14-year-old kid thinks of you. You're their teacher. You teach them. You're not their friend. You're not
like 21 doing crack.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, everyone gets there. Like, I was there when I was like 21, 22 and doing prac. You know, you want the kids to like you, but it gets to a point where, and like I said, it comes with age, where you're just like, I don't care if these kids like me. Like, I'm their teacher. I owe them an education. I don't owe them anything else. So, like, you want to be supportive in that, but obviously you don't want to get too close. Like, bad things happen when you get too close.
The kids as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I know teachers who've gotten in trouble on social media or things like that. Nothing like bad or anything, but like things where kids find things. Like, I'm lucky enough that kids find Cool Dad Collective and they're like, oh, sir, I saw that video about you being a dad. And I was like, did you listen? Like, it might come in handy, man. Like, if you find my stuff, it actually might help you. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, because I taught at RTO for a while.
Yeah, okay.
For Cert 4 and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's different because they're an adult.
Yeah.
So I can sort of be like, and they're paying to be there.
Yeah.
So I can be like, well, if you're not listening, you're not listening.
Just go away.
You're just going to have to pay again.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you're going to make money.
As a teacher of, like, children, that you kind of obviously have to do the curriculum. And
well, even like, you know, we offer like Cert 3s and fitness. And the thing with like Cert 3 and fitness is, you know, as an RTO, like, if the kids aren't really into it and they get a Cert 3 and they go to a gym and they're completely useless and they say, like, you know, they get someone to do something that they shouldn't do and that person gets injured, like, it goes back on the RTO, which is the school. So to be honest, those certificate classes, we're almost like more like stringent, because we're like, no, if you stuff up in university, it doesn't affect us. If you go in the workforce or a trade site and stuff up, like, it comes back on us. So those courses, and I think, you know, the clientele you obviously get in those courses are kids that, I wouldn't say like they're not bad kids or anything, but they're usually kids that don't really know
studies for them.
Yeah, well, not even that. They're just like trying a couple things, and it's hard when you're trying fitness, but you're enrolled in a certificate. So like, you don't really get a taste for it before you actually do it. So it's interesting. It's definitely tough to manage, man, but like it's great. It really is good. It's great seeing kids come out. You know, I have kids all the time. I teach at like a pretty rough area, I would say, and having kids who, you know, their parents don't really know about university avenues or something like that, and then a kid will come back 2 years after they graduate and they're like, oh yeah, I'm studying science at uni, and you're just like, that's awesome.
Sick.
Like considering the two options you had were like gangs,
delinquency,
and now you've like turned and gone into this, which is like, you know, that's all you want. You don't care if they're successful. You just want them to be happy and out of this shitty situation they're in, if they're in one.
Yeah, for sure. What's you've kind of touched on some there, but what are some key like challenges in teaching?
Oh damn.
Maybe like limited to like three.
Yeah, I was gonna say depends how like. I think challenges in schools at the moment is it's all social media. Like it's all, we got a big problem at the moment around like, I guess kids obviously on Instagram, on TikTok, and then we've got a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram that promote like courses, you know, courses like, oh, you know, follow me, this is an online course.
Oh yeah.
And
the
then,
salesman.
Like the
I'll make you
Andy
rich from
Elliott,
social media,
the Andrew Tate stuff. And, you know, like I'm pretty impartial to all that. I don't watch any of that shit or anything. I'm probably too old for it, but it does affect the kids in that kids now, not all kids, but some kids obviously look at teachers now as like, oh, you're a bit of a bum. Like, you know, you just became a teacher. Like, I'm gonna go off grid and escape the matrix. And I'm like, brother, you're not even in the matrix yet, man. Like, what are you escaping? Like, you playing Fortnite? Just relax. Like, you know, find something that you're passionate in. Don't just watch some idiot on Instagram and be like, he's making $100,000 because he's selling a course on selling courses. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, like I see it infrequently, but I do see like, you know, kids drop out in year 10 and 11 and then they're on Instagram being like, you know, I've got a method of doing this and stuff. And you're like, mate, you're a kid. Like,
you still live at home.
Yeah, who's buying this stuff? So I think, you know, I'm all for that. Like, I'm very, you know, uni's not the only way to get a job and stuff like that, but I'm also like a realist.
Like do grade 12 while you're doing
I
your
know
hustle.
that half this stuff is a scam. Like, you're going to pay $1,000, like 200 other people. These people are going to make so much money off you. You're going to leave, think you know what you're going to do, and then you're going to be like, what the hell did I learn? Like, there's things like that. So we're battling sort of that non-traditional and traditional approach to learning and trying to integrate it in together, being like, you can go to uni and become a doctor or become an accountant or whatever. You could go down this other pathway, but just know that this other pathway is really hard. And I guess it kind of helps having a bit of skin in the social media game. When kids come to me and be like, oh, you know, how much money do you make by having this much followers? And you're like, mate, like nothing. Like you do it because you love it, not because you're making money. So having that chat with kids is always interesting.
Yeah, because you're kind of the proof in the pudding.
Yeah, big time. Like, not even in that, but it's like, you know, as a negative and a positive, you know, it's like I have the, I guess, privilege to be like, you can definitely do it. But I also have that other side of me where I was like, I've run 3 or 4 podcasts that got collectively 0 listens across how long. Like, it took me 10 years to find the thing that actually stuck. So I think it's like trying to get into kids' heads that they can do all these cool things, like do stuff on social media, do streaming, whatever, to be the next like iShowSpeed or whatever. But you have to understand that the amount of work that comes into that is insane. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to do social media full time.
And the statistic of you being that person.
Yeah, it's kind of become like the new sort of sport, you know, like we have like boys, boys that play rugby league, and, you know, you have to be honest with them, like, guys, you need to back up. Like, rugby league's great, but you're one ACL away from never playing again. So like, you know, it's kind of like that. You always have to have a backup. But now it used to be a small portion of kids that used to be like it's usually the sport kids, but now it's like everybody, like, I want to be a famous artist. I've got this Instagram
musician.
I'm like, that's awesome. Do that. But also maybe do something so you can get a job. Always have a backup. Like, having a backup is never a bad thing. Like, people think it's like, oh, you got to be all in. It's like, yeah, but you also have to feed your family.
Also 14.
Yeah, you're also, yeah, that too. I'm just like, mate, like, it's all good. Like, mum and dad are paying your bills. Like, when you turn 18, you're off on your own. Like, you know, making stuff on social media for free and not getting paid is not going to pay your rent. So having that like tough conversation with them. But I guess, like, you know, there's plenty of stuff that makes things difficult in teaching. I think just having like realistic expectations of yourself too, that you can't save everybody. Like, that's always a really tough thing to have. And there's times where, you know, a kid might not be doing as good as you want them to do, but, you know, if you double down on this one kid, you've also got 28 other kids that need your help. So it's really hard to sort of balance that as well. But yeah, there's plenty of things, but everything, it's all like a silver lining. Everything has a silver lining in teaching. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, school teaches kids way more than just education. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize when they're like, oh, homeschooling and stuff like that. Like, all for it. You do what you do. Like, as a parent myself, you know, you do whatever you think's best for your kids, but you have to take away that notion of like, school is only for academics. Like, school, you learn how to work in a team, you know, even deal with like fuckheads. Like, you know what I mean?
Social interactions.
Exactly. Like, you know, they're like, oh, but when I leave school, you know, everyone that I'm going to be around is always going to be like this, like, want the same thing. And I'm like, nah, being able to deal with a dickhead is a very big skill. Like, being able to like navigate, you know, I don't want to cause like a commotion. I don't want to like get into a fight with this kid, but I need to learn how to deal with him. Like, that's the stuff that kids also learn in school as well. So.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. I have no idea what the data is. I'm not looking at schools yet, but like the boys school, girls school versus co-ed, like learning how to talk to the other gender is such really a huge skill. Yeah. That's very important. Because if you go to a boys school and then you go to a workplace, you haven't really learned to speak to women.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's not the idea of like, you know, boys clubs and stuff like that really sort of, you know, I guess flourish in that environment too. And I know so many people who went to all boys schools and they came up fantastic, like a great, you know, real gentleman. But I also know people that went to boys schools that are complete fucking losers. Yeah. But vice versa. I know the same with like co-ed schools as well. So it's difficult. Like, I think we're looking at doing public primary school for that reason, like, you know, being around many people, and then potentially, depending on obviously finances and stuff like that, wanting to go to like a private all girls school for the girls. But that's not really like me being like, oh, same-sex schools are the best. That's just me with, you know, Kia wanting personal. To... exactly. You know, and everyone's different. You should always just be solid with what you think as well. Like, not get worried about, you know, oh, so-and-so said blah, blah, blah. It's like, what do you think? Like, you know your kid. What do you think is going to be best for your kid? So,
yeah, we live in a world where no matter what you say, you're wrong anyway. So just do what...
Exactly. Like, I'm sort of piling up a video now around, it's like one of those things, I don't know if you saw them a while ago. They're like videos about like, it's this dude setting up for breakfast, and then it'll like pop up with a clip, be like, cereal's the worst way to start you. And then he's like, oh, damn it. And then he grabs fruit, and then some other guy comes in, he goes, fruit's the worst. And they're sitting there like, I'm kind of going to do one with parenting because I have all this like stock footage of people being like, you should never do this with your kids. And then it's like, okay.
You'd sit in a corner, you wouldn't eat.
You wouldn't do anything. Like, you just like, life's boring if you're just so worried about like, oh, this person said this person said that. You're just like, oh, just drown it out. Like, don't worry about it.
All right. So maybe if there was one piece of advice to an up-and-coming educator
like this,
what would you give?
My thing would definitely be to like look at your energy levels like a percentage, right? I say this to, I've mentored a couple teachers in the past, and I always say this to them. I'm like, look at your energy as a percentage. You should never be leaving work at 0%. Like, you should always have something. And if that means that, say, for example, you sort of taper off, like, you don't need to do a million different activities in one lesson. Like, really just focusing in on, you know, getting to know the kids, forming relationships with the kids, because if you can form relationships and set in really good routines for the kids before teaching, like, it'll be so much easier for you. I think one thing that we don't really focus on, especially as like giving advice to young teachers, is that you don't have to teach from the first week. Like, realistically, you only need about 4 to 5 weeks to teach content. Like, the other 5 weeks you can use to like build relationships. Even just checking in on kids is always like really important. But I think the biggest thing is obviously just making sure that you're really conscious of how much energy you're giving out, because first year teacher burnout's like inevitable. Every first year teacher burns out at some point. And I think not knocking yourself if you do burn out, like, it happens, and like being okay to have a day off if you're not feeling that great. Like, I think it's good that sort of we're now focusing on like teachers not having to like work themselves into the ground. Like, it's okay to put your hand up and say, I just need a day to just get my head back. Because I think once you sort of, you know, get into the rhythm of it, you do get to a point where you are managing your energy levels a lot better. So yeah, that would be my biggest thing. And obviously, like, listen to as many people as you can. Like, even listen to the shit teachers. Like, what do they have that they could offer you, because they can offer you something. Everyone can offer you something, especially if they've been teaching for a long time. The best ones are the teachers that have been teaching for a long time, and they're kind of like tapering down, and you can see what they do to sort of keep their head just above water, because that's where you sort of want to be, and sort of adapting, like, you know, what can I do that they do that's very similar? And it might be like getting a spreadsheet from them or something like that. Just asking heaps of questions. But that'd be the main thing that I just say to the new ones, and try not to be their friends. Like the kids, really, like the kids, you want them to, like, kids will respect you if you're just you. You're not trying to like be, I'm young and nah, don't do that. Just be you. And the kids will most likely see that, like, oh, this person's not trying to like get us to like, try hard. I mean, they're not trying to like, this is just a regular dude who's going to teach me stuff. Like, that's what you want to be. You don't be. Yeah.
That's true. Actually, the teachers that I got along the most with were like normal and just like, this is what we're learning. Yeah. But just normal along the way.
Yeah. Like my favorite teacher.
Put you in line.
Exactly. Like my favorite teacher in school was this, and I haven't even spoken to him since school. He's like probably one that I didn't even talk to all that much, but I did have a good relationship with him. But so it was Mr. Fraser Lachlan, I think his name is. I don't know where he is now, but he was just a solid dude. Yeah, shout out. I think he's at a really good school now, so I hope he is, because he's a great teacher. But he was just solid. Like, didn't do too much. Like, didn't try to like be one of us. Just got in, was like, had a chat to you. Like, yeah, good. How's your weekend? All good. Like, always had your back, but wasn't like in your face. And like, as you get older, you realize that those teachers were like the really cool ones. The ones that were like, oh, you're just the student, I'm the teacher. And then you realize you're like, that's actually a really safe environment. Like, this guy's just going to watch my back when I'm here. He's going to teach me stuff, and then I'm going to leave, and it's not weird or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
They're the solid ones. They're the ones you like.
Yeah. The other thing you forget as well is like when you don't forget, you don't know when you're in high school, like, teacher comes in, they're really stroppy that day.
Yeah.
You forget, / you're too immature. You're like, oh, they could be going through a divorce. They could be hungover. They
could
like,
be anything.
Yeah.
Literally, they could have like had the worst drop off with their kid. Like, I've had times where I've rocked up like late to session 1 because I've had to drop Skylar off at kindy, or both the girls off at kindy, and like the kids will know. The kids are like, oh, so you're in a rush today? And I was like, yeah. Like, I had the worst drive into work, and like being transparent like that is actually a good thing. Like, not sort of crushing a kid because he's like, oh, so you look a bit shitty today. Like, what's up?
What do you know?
Yeah, he's just been like, yeah, man, I had a fucking shit morning, so sorry.
You can't beat traffic.
Yeah, exactly. And like the kids are actually like, they see that and they go, oh, yeah, this dude's a regular dude. Like, he's not, he's not that special. Yeah.
Yeah. So, high school teacher by day.
Yeah.
Father, obviously, partner, podcaster. There's a lot going on. How do you fit it all in? Like, run me through like what an average sort of real day would look like.
So a real day, and this is me working as well. So I have Tuesdays off with the girls, and that's not really like a being able to work on Cool Dad. That's mainly just saving money on childcare, because that's a real thing. But I try to get up. I would love to say that I'm a real morning person, but I'm actually not. I hate the mornings. Like, I can't even believe I used to come here at like 5:30 in the morning and get insane. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing.
That was clearly kids.
Literally, yeah. When you go together, it's you kind of have to. You don't want to be the one that's like anchoring her down. But I usually get up, get the girls ready, and I'll probably like film some content during that time as well. I guess that's the beauty of like, being someone who films just their like day-to-day stuff is obviously just, you just put the camera on when you're doing something random. So I'll be getting breakfast ready for the girls or something like that. And everything's sort of like really timed. Like, I know I have to be out of the door at 7:15 to get the girls to kindy at 7:30 to get to work at 8:30. And then, if I'm in the car, I'll probably like do some voice notes or something like that. So if I've got things I want to talk about on the podcast, or like a content idea or a video idea, I'll literally just like put my phone on a video and like just shove it in the drawer, and I'll just talk to myself.
That's smart.
Yeah, it's like, I can't remember who said it. Like, I was listening to a podcast with someone, and someone said like, don't waste and I hate saying like wasting, but like use the time that you have in the car. Cause like for me, the time in the car is like my quiet time as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I got like a 40-minute trip to work. So I'm usually like listening to something, or it's just a break, like away from the kids, and away from kid gives you a little bit of, it's labeled as like the third space. You're not at work, you're not at home, but you're in that like, so using that, and then I'll get to work, do my thing at work. So, teach all day, but then I'll jump in the car, get home, and that's when I'll do like recording, more videos, scheduling, pretty much just working in like micro sort of work days. So like 2 hours here, 2 hours here, but it definitely helps. I'm a massive like night owl. Like I go to bed at probably like 12:30.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm one of those like, so like I'm definitely one of those ones where I'm like, I'm not a win the morning guy. Like I might just survive the morning and then thrive in the afternoon, which like I think is, you know, a lot of people are like that. And I think, you know, everyone sort of says like, you got to win the morning. I think it's just whatever works for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you know, if I said to someone said to me like, oh, how do you like produce such content? Like, do you get up early? I was like, nah, I'm the worst person. I just go to bed late. It's, you know, it's pretty much the same. It's just reversed.
Yeah, well, I'm like a 6 a.m.er. That's like...
Yeah. 6 is good.
When I get up here, I have to get up at fucking 4 a.m.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Then I'm cooked by 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I find I do love getting up early and, you know, maybe going for a run or something like that. But I find like I'll always set myself up to do that and I won't do it. And then, you know, the first thing you do in the morning is take an L. And then you're just like, with the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Whereas if I kind of meet myself where I'm at and go, I'm not going to do gym in the morning. I'm just not that person. So you wake up and, you know, you get stuff ready and that sort of stuff, but you don't feel like you've let yourself down, just like setting realistic goals. But it's a lot of scheduling and it's like a lot of...
Do you calendar it?
Yeah, I'm a big calendar person, big list person, and a big diary person. Like, I feel like I can fit things in a lot better. And I never was like that. Like, that's something that I've learned as I've gotten older, that if you do want to do this sort of stuff, like doing it reactively, it could work. But when you get yourself into a system of like, I'm going to do this here, I've got like a chart of when content's coming out, it makes it so much easier.
That's where I fall down.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and
like reactive.
Yeah, exactly. And like there is an element where you do have to be reactive. Like I know there's a lot of things that I do online that, you know, you got to be careful of, not careful, but you got to be aware of like trends and stuff like that. And the only way you can be onto trends and things like that is if you're actually on the app looking at stuff and being reactive. So I kind of like have like sort of the way that I structure the content is I look at doing like what's high effort content. So in other words, things that's going to take a long time. But then I do like a lot of things that I call like low effort content, which are like memes, things that are designed to get people to look at the account, but not necessarily like build a community. It's more just eyes and then
Get the interaction.
Yeah,
engagement.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the engagement and then you harness the engagement by releasing, you know, high effort content, which if you can, you know, put together 4 high effort content videos a week, plus 7 low effort content and then 3 reactive posts, like you've just done like 16. Yeah, exactly. And it's not saying that that's like really easy to do, but when you get yourself into a system like that and you get used to doing it, it just comes naturally. Like you just like, you'll see a video and be like, I can make that. I could make that. I could do this. I could change, you know what I mean? So it's definitely something that if you do it long enough, it just becomes part of your brain. Like, I'm just an addict for content. It's terrible. Like, I guess it's better than drugs, but you know,
it's the new drug.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So you started like 4 or 5 years ago podcasting with Inner City Hermit. Was that the first one?
That was the first one I did.
Yeah.
So that was my, I call that my Joe Rogan era. Like that was when I think, you know, everyone was just making podcasts around, I think everyone just realized that podcasting was really accessible. So everyone sort of did it. And I was interviewing a lot of people who were just like doing cool stuff around Brisbane, essentially. Like there was like rappers, business owners, stuff like that. But I just had no idea how to grow it. And literally when people are like, oh, you know, you're really lucky that it's getting big now and that, but like, nah, dude, it's like, I did years where it was just like shit, just posting videos, no views, post another video, no views. You're just like, that just humbles you like big time. When you deal with like years of that, you're just like, but it like sort of hardens you up too. You're just like, okay, that video was shit. Let's do another one. Like, no, you tend to put less emotion into the video. Like if something fails, it's like, oh, well, I'll release another video in an hour.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. I had to remind myself that too at the start. Like, you know, you do the episodes and you get views and stuff. But I think everyone in their mind, like, I want to be this many views.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, of course, you're not going to be that many. It's going to be here.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, it could be 0. Like,
Yeah, exactly right. Like you really have to like look at it and reflect on like how far you've come. Like I know people who, you know, will be like, oh, like I gained like 5,000 followers this month, but I wanted more. I was like, there are people that would kill
For 5,000.
5,000.
You're
Like
500.
yeah, are you kidding? Like you're doing a good job. Like the whole overnight success stuff doesn't. And when it does happen, and when it does happen, you end up like that Huck Tour girl who like rips a whole bunch of people off because she has no idea.
The rug.
Yeah, you have no idea how to handle the fame. Like it's definitely like there's nothing better than a gradual rise, because the gradual rise, you don't realize how many skills you learn along the way that are going to help you when it does get a bit bigger. Like even down to like, I got done I posted a video not long ago and it got like 23 million views on Facebook, but it was essentially this guy like making his daughter jump off like a 10-foot balcony into his arms. And I posted this video being like, nah, there's no way I'm doing that. Like that seems like a terrible idea. I wasn't even like critiquing the guy. I was just more so saying like, there's no way I'd do that. And then they came at me with like, if you don't take it down, we're going to do you for like defamation. Or
those? The actual
whatever.
original-
But the thing is, because I've been doing it for so long, I'm like, well, I took the video down because I was like, you know what? I don't need this. It's not worth the fight. But I was just like, well, you posted it on Instagram. I know the fact that you allowed it to be stitched and whatever. Like you set yourself up for this. And to be fair, like
It's because you made them look bad.
but even in my head, I was like, you still got 23 million views on half of your video, man. Like I'd be stoked. I think he was just pissed off because I think it dwarfed like all of his things. And he was like quite a high profile, like one of them weird hippie homeschooly people. So more power to them. Like whatever, man, do you. But if you post shit online, it's going to come back. Yeah. It's like rule one. Like
100%.
If it's online, even if you delete it, it's there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
How did you get from Inner City Hermit to Cool Dad?
It's actually a really weird story. So I was doing Inner City Hermit, and that was like, I really enjoyed that. Like one of the things that I always say to people is like, whether you're getting views or not, do you like the product that you're putting out there? And like, I loved it. Like where they've got no views, some views, whatever, I loved just interviewing people. Like it was really fun. And so for me, it was like, that was a good thing. But wait, I just went on a tangent there.
How do you get from Hermit?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I did it for a while, and then I just got into like a little bit of a rut where I was like doing different things with other different things. I think Logan Paul started doing like the Pokemon card stuff, and like, I'm like massive into Pokemon cards, and I was like, oh, like TikTok's new. I'll just jump on TikTok and open some packs online. So did that. Started streaming under like Pokemon Hermit, which was like a little off the side of like Inner City Hermit, and then that sort of turned into like what I was so focused on. I was just opening Pokemon cards and getting like thousands of views and really liking it. And so of course, like the whole big fix, like the ADHD hyperfixation, I went, I don't really want that anymore. I want to just open up Pokemon cards. So I just moved into that, and I guess left Inner City Hermit, and then got to a point where, the Pokemon card stuff was cool, and I was just sitting there like, this is a phase. Like this is definitely a phase. I don't want to be famous for like opening Pokemon cards. Like I love it, but there's times where you just want to open cards yourself, or with your mates. So I stopped doing that, and then that was around the time that Skylar was born. And so I just like, I don't know, I knew nothing about when I went into fatherhood. I had no idea. I couldn't sit still to read a book. Like people were like, you should read this, you should read that. I was like, man, like, I'm sorry. I understand the importance of reading, but I can't sit down and read. And none of these books, like you read Lord of the Rings, there's an audiobook. It's great.
Yeah.
But for like, the sciencey baby books, which are so painful, there's no audiobooks. Like, and half the stuff I can't, even if I was listening to it, I'm like, that's boring. I'm like, I'm very much a person I was like, learn by doing. And I was like, yeah, how many other dads are like this? How many other dads just get grilled by their wives because we can't sit still to like learn all that stuff, and we should be learning that stuff. So I was like, all right, well, there's a gap in the market here. And it was when I was listening to Hamish Blake's like How Other Dads Dad, and I was like, this is really cool. I love this. But all these people are famous. Like, I don't really care about how famous people. I want to know how like FIFO worker is a parent, or how like the builder or the accountant, or just like the random dude that's like works at the coffee shop. I want to know how they handle fatherhood, because I feel like they have a lot more relatable problems. You know what I mean? So ended up just doing like a solo podcast talking about the birth of Skylar, and I just got really lucky, I guess, in that the video just blew up on TikTok, and then that sort of like gave me a bit of a platform to like keep interviewing people, and also finding different people through gaining the following. So I've met like a whole bunch of different dads who do such cool stuff, but they're not like big names or anything, but their stories are incredible. So like, there's like Grant, he's like a friend of mine now, but his daughter Oakley has got SMA, which is skeletal muscular atrophy. And so I linked up with them to do like a bit of work for SMA, like the charities, and just like learning about his journey and fatherhood is just like so different. And it's so awesome how this dude is just like so passionate in it. And you're like, you know, even the circumstances, like he was just like, when Oakley was born, he was just like, nah, this is what I'm her dad. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure this world is like perfect for her. So like talking to someone like that, you're like, this is so sick. Like being a dad is like the coolest shit ever when like you hear things like that. Or even there's another guy, Chris Dixon, who's like one of those crazy ultra marathon runners. And he's got a daughter who was born without an arm. So he's doing all these charity runs, and I'm like, well, I got a decent following now. Like, let's promote the shit out of this because
Do
like
something good with it.
Yeah. So like, you know, I'm linking up with a lot of things. We got a charity jersey coming out that's going to raise money for SMA with Grant and another guy called Dom who runs Ballin', who did the Salt jerseys.
Yeah.
So we got a jersey coming out, and
They're cool, those jerseys.
they're so sick, man. Like they nailed that. Yeah. But all the proceeds are going to go to SMA, like Move for Oakley, which is the charity we're sort of working with. So, you know, just trying to make like as much, you know, just seeing a gap and being like, this is cool. Like being a dad is so important, shedding light on like the problems we have as dads, and also like leading up into fatherhood. You know, it's one of those things where there is a lot of focus on mum, rightfully so.
Yeah.
You know, and when it's one of the things where, you know, dads, I think, feel sometimes that they don't know enough. And usually what happens is, as blokes, when we don't know enough, we tend to sort of sit back.
And it gets worse.
Yeah, and you know, that's you got to be hands-on. Like the new age of dadding is just being really hands-on.
And sometimes, like I found, this is anything.
Yeah.
Is like, you make X mistake parenting, like a simple one.
Yeah.
And then you hear 50 other men made the same mistake.
Makes you feel
or
so
you say
much
it
better.
first, or you're a cool dad. And then everyone listening goes, fuck, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing too. And I get a lot of like people who come up and say like, oh, like, you know, it's so brave that you're being like transparent about like the things you struggle with. And I'm like, is it? Like, we all struggle. Like,
it kind of is, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Like, I should be. It's not perfect. And this, you know, parenting is one of those things on social media where it's really volatile at times, because there are a lot of great content creators. Like, don't get me wrong, there are so many cool things. Like, there's like Dad Social, who's this guy from America, Mason Smith, who does all this, the POV, you're a dad, and he like, you know, does amazing stuff for his daughters, like sets up movie nights and things like that, which is really cool. And like, you know, it's amazing to shed a light on that. But I feel like it's the worst feeling coming home from a day where you're fucking gassed from work, the kids are losing it, you know, say your partner's like really stressed out, and you open your phone, the first thing is this dad who's like, life's great, it's amazing. And you know, that's, you got to take it with a grain of salt, being like, that's not his everyday. But if you're not like really literate with social media and you don't realize that it's a highlight, it can make you feel really shit. So kind of bringing it back and just being like, you can be a good dad and still fuck up. Like, you know,
100%. And I think we are shifting more towards that in every field. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That perfectness is almost frowned upon now.
Yeah, big time.
Which is good and bad, but like, everyone's kind of being like, no, this is the real world. Like, some of us are struggling to pay rent. We're not going to do these big parties for my kids.
I always get like, and I see it, and like sometimes, you know, it's always good to pull jokes and stuff like that. And you're probably well into this in terms of like the High Rocks fad now. And like people are being like, yeah, but it's like not CrossFit and blah, like all these. I'm just like, yeah, but all these people are like really into fitness. Like, is that not a positive thing?
Yeah,
like I get
that thing.
I get it. It's not CrossFit. And I get it. It's just like running and then doing exercise. But like, are you really going to knock the fact that there's just more people exercising now? Like when people are like, oh, these fucking run clubs, I was like, yeah, God forbid everyone like
gets
actually,
off the couch.
yeah, God forbid everyone likes to do a 5K run on a Saturday morning. Like, why is this so bad?
I know.
Like,
it's like easy to hate now.
yeah, I know. And that's the thing. And the hating thing just, you know, we all, like, everyone has that internal monologue. Like, you know, sometimes I'll go down, walk on a Saturday morning and they'll be like, you know, a million blokes shirtless running. And I'll be like, oh, man,
I even have that.
yeah, exactly. But I'm just like, why do I care? Like, these guys running shirtless do nothing to my day. Like, why do I give a shit about what they're doing?
Yeah.
Like, I should, you know, be more glass half full and be like, how good is it that these guys are all out, you know?
Do you reckon that's age? Because the last couple of years, I've really gone.
You get really cynical.
No, I've really gone like, unless that person's hurting someone or
yeah.
you, who gives a fuck what they're
Yeah.
doing? They like Pokemon, let them like Pokemon. They like trains, let them like trains.
Yeah,
Who
if
cares?
it's not affecting my immediate day, or they're not forcing it on others,
yeah,
just leave it
like what
alone.
people are wearing and shit.
yeah, dude, like let people wear whatever they like. Who cares? Like, does it affect? If it affects me, like if,
Different.
If they're sitting there being like, you know, oh, like if I go to say, you know, Skylar's with me and they're like, yo, why isn't not? This is a weird like example. Why isn't she running or something like that?
Yeah,
like, then I'm like,
yeah.
hey, shut up. But if they're just doing their thing, like that's why I never understood like when people are like, I want to start a podcast or something like that, and they're like, yeah, but I'm worried that people are going to be.
I was definitely that.
Yeah, who cares? Like, you know, you're comparing yourself or you're worried about the opinion of someone who's clearly not doing anything. Because I know for a fact people who are doing shit don't have time to fucking pick on other people.
Yeah.
Like the people who are, and you know, you don't have to be like one of these like macho alpha, like I'm a stoic and I'm a wolf. You don't have to be like that to get in that mind frame of like, oh yeah, whatever they're doing, like let them do it. It's not affecting me. Like,
Have you seen that? This is very niche joke reference. There was like for ages like a TikTok sound or whatever. And it was like another white boy with a podcast.
oh yeah, dude.
Every time I'm like, I want to be doing a podcast because that jingle comes
Oh
into my
mate,
head.
I was the OG. Like people used to call me the Joe Rogan from Logan, which was like the like. But
Great jingle, though.
yeah, exactly. But I was just like, you know, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you trying? Please try. Like, could you imagine having all these ideas and then just being like, nah, I won't do that.
Yeah.
I'll just stick to whatever I'm doing. Like,
Definitely regret not doing it more than doing it.
yeah, and the thing is, if you do stuff like, you know, start a podcast or whatever like that, when you do these things and you get out of your comfort zone, the more you do them, the less you really do care about other people. Like, and that's in regards to everything. Like, you know, you start to go to work and you'd be like, well, oh, you know, bloody Jono from accounts thinks I'm a dickhead, but I'm not really doing much to him. Like, I barely talk to the dude. So you can't just be like, yeah. You get to a point when you have kids, you're just like, as long as they're okay and my wife's happy, or you're like, whatever, the rest is all good. Like, I'm sweet with dealing that shit. You know what I mean?
So when your first video was good, the first Cool Dad video.
Yeah.
Have you done specific tactics, let's call it tactics, whatever, strategies to grow your audience and grow everything?
Yeah, I think I'm obsessed with like learning about the algorithm. Like I love learning about what makes videos go viral and what things. And you know, there's obviously like cheat codes, like, you know, the rage bait thing. Like I know the fitness industry is really big on like and it's the same, but I'm just like referring to something that you'd understand is like, there is a lot of rage bait, like making people angry, and that's a really low hanging fruit. I saw a post not long ago, is like, you can't build a community of rage bait. Like people will just follow you to like shit on you. Like there was that runner guy from the Gold Coast, I can't remember his name, but I just watched this guy. Like I literally followed him purely because I was like, this guy's gonna learn real quickly.
You want to watch the crash?
He was shitting on people 24/7, or like just posting really cringy stuff. You're just like, oh, it's gonna catch up to him. And I think he said something about domestic violence, and I was like, this is the one. He's done. Like,
Let me get my tea.
This is it. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like, you can't really like, you know, you could, you know, piss people off and get views, but that's not going to build community. But at the same time too, views and follows is what starts building community. So for me, it was just breaking my content down into what I said before about, you know, okay, I can't make 14 really in-depth podcast snippets because that's going to take me like an hour per video or whatever. But what I can do is I can set myself a goal of say, okay, I need 5. So that's 1 per day essentially. Then if I can get some like random sort of like, you know, footage or just like funny videos that I can post like here and there that require less editing, so they're more like raw, those can sort of fill up that content schedule as well. And then posting like really easy stuff, so like infographics about like, yeah, pretty much putting a podcast segment into like a shareable infographic is really good as well. But essentially just going high effort content, how much of those can I do per week? Medium effort, like where are the points during the week that I can just get my phone out and record something? And then the low effort ones, which are like, you know, memes, green screen videos, things like that, things that are going to get eyes, because then you've got your reach, and then your retain. So like my reach is obviously like memes, the stuff that sort of like ticks an emotion in people and they sort of follow it. And then I've got the retention stuff, which is like the podcast, the information that's going to help people, or even down to like the Cool Dad group on Facebook, just having people in the group just being like, oh, I need advice for this. And then someone will jump in and be like, oh, we did this. And yeah, it's that stuff's really good, but it's all about scheduling. Like it's all throw as much shit at the wall in the early days. Like try everything, try a sketch, try a talking video, try a meme, try literally anything. Like even like using a sound over like, you know, a B-roll video with even like a quote. Like it's a low-hanging fruit, and it does annoy me sometimes when accounts are all that. But you can sprinkle those in every so often just for the eyes.
Get a bit of engagement.
But like the biggest thing is obviously just repurposing content as much as you can as well. So like you make a really good video, don't feel like you can't post that video again in like 2 months. So like, for example, I'll post a video, I'll see how it goes. If it doesn't go really well, I'll put it in a folder and I'll be like, right, in 2 months time, I'm going to schedule that video again and just track how it goes the second time. Because, you know, with the algorithm and how quickly it works, there may be something trending in that time that you spoke about in that video from 2 months ago that still works for you. So,
sometimes there was some other major event that day that just dwarfed everything.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like, you know, when we're editing, you watch things over and over again. Like, so say for example, you're editing a snippet, right? You listen to it the first time, you're like, that's awesome. The second time, you're like, okay. Third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, you start to go like, dude, does this sound fucking stupid? But the first time you heard it, you're like, this is really good. And so you have to have the mindset of like, well, hopefully when people see it for the first time, they're not going to watch it 8 times and be like, wow, this guy's actually fucking stupid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like that idea of
why is
like,
he saying a word like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I go through like things like that. Like, man, I pronounce that word real weird. I hope no one notices. But like looking at the amount of people I see that like make something and then look at it and then go, no, I don't think it'll do well. And I'm like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't even know. I've been doing this for like 6 or 7 years looking at this algorithm, and not once have I ever thought, yeah, I got this down. I know what I'm doing. Like no one, literally no one. And then, you know, you get to a point where you've got enough followers that you could post literally anything and you'll get views on it. And
it's irrelevant what you're posting.
Yeah, like that first 50K is so hard because you're constantly fighting everybody else that has that amount of followers that's constantly trying to push content. And then, you know, you get to a point where you can like go, okay, sweet, I've got, you know, of my 80K, I have 10 that are really like engaged. So I know I'm going to get views from that just from like organic followers.
Yeah.
But
it's such a beast, isn't it?
It is such a beast, but man, I love it. I could talk for hours about it. Like you have to be obsessed.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing I've learned from obviously when I was in other podcasts and stuff, you know, these are the 1%ers, but like your beasts and your Stephen Bartlett's and stuff.
Yeah, literally.
That's what they just full chism out on the algorithm.
Oh, bro, that's me.
And like I can't do it.
Oh, yeah, you'd be.
But I'll learn.
Yeah, you can learn. Like the biggest thing is, man, once you get that first like viral banger, you just get this like itch. You're just like, oh shit, I like this feeling. And that's you start to understand like,
cracks of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you start to understand why, you know, Logan Paul and things like that do these things that you're like, oh, what the fuck? Why would you film that? Because you're like, when you get views and you get likes and you get followers, like if you're not checking yourself and being like, hang on, like you're still an idiot. Like, relax. If you're not doing that, people get fucking blown
down the rabbit hole.
Especially around like, you know, this area around here, you see a lot of like fake influencers, and I can't really put a label on being a fake, like you are what you are, right? But there are a lot of people who get like a decent amount of followers.
Your pedestal's higher than it should be.
And then all of a sudden they're like, you know, they're walking around the gym asking for free shit, you know what I mean? You're like, hang on.
Oh, I get that so.
Oh, dude, I could imagine, man. I could imagine. Like, I remember I did an interview with Lewis at Function World, and it was a great interview. And then he gave me like a month at the gym, and I was sitting there like, I could barely even go because I was just like, I feel bad. Like, I don't like. It's a weird feeling. Like you don't like getting that, whereas some people just froth it and they'll take everything. You know what I mean? And you know, you know, there's plenty of them, man.
What was it like? How do I word this best? When you first started getting not engagement from your audience, like you've got the Cool Dad Facebook group now.
Yeah.
but maybe the first sort of DMs or whatever from dads, like, hey, this really resonated with me. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
What was that like when that first started happening?
I think it was just reassurance that you're doing the right thing, but it's also like reassuring for me too. Like out of everything, you know, it's good that I'm doing it for others, but I'm also doing it for myself. So like if I talk about something that I'm like, you know, genuinely like, oh shit, was that a good parenting move? And I'll talk about it, and then a dad will come on and be like, yeah, no, like that's what I do as well. I'm right there with you. So like as much as people like message me and be like, oh, like I'm so glad you spoke about that. I deal with that all the time. When people reach out to me, it's obvious, it's more often than not like a reciprocal conversation. I'm like, oh, you do as well? Oh, thank God, man. I posted that video and I wasn't sure if people were going to judge me for it.
Yeah, because you're putting yourself out on a ledge.
Yeah. And, you know, you do get some things where it's like the worst thing I think is when people like, you know, with followers, people assume that you're doing well if you have a lot of followers, but that's not always the case. Like you don't make the money in Australia, we don't have creative funds or anything like that. So like, you know, the money that people in the US would make or wherever they are is different to what we have. Ours is based on like ad revenue, things like that, like really sort of like pushing other things or your own products. So, you know, people will hit me up and be like, oh, you know, my so-and-so, our child is like sick. Like, do you have any like thing you could sort of sponsor us? I'm sitting there like,
I'm broke.
Right, I don't have enough money to sponsor my own kids. Like,
and
I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. Like, just because there is a lot of followers, like followers don't equate like money.
No,
like
not in Australia.
No way, man. And you start to, as sort of you like, you know, you grow a little bit yourself, you go like, oh man, I was believing all these people were like doing really well when in reality, like not knocking them or anything, they're probably going to work and like grinding really hard, but online it looks like they're just having the most chill life. You know what I mean? Like, even today, like I went and played golf this morning, went to the gym, but I also didn't record the fact that I sat at my computer for like 5 hours editing videos and stuff like that.
You never show the grind.
That's it, man. And you know, like hustle mentality is really big at the moment. So you do have to be, I'm very conscious of the fact that I don't want to portray my life as a dad not what it is. Like when I'm stressed or there's times where I'm like, I really don't feel like recording today. Like I'm kind of just tapped out of just social media. Like you have those days all the time. Like it's not always fun. And yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but yeah, the messages, like, you know, they're majority positive. Like I had a couple guys message me the other day. Actually it was one, and they were all like listeners to the podcast, but they're in New York. Like they're from New York. Cool. And they were like, yeah, we met up and we met through like the Facebook group. And I was just like, that's awesome. But I'm also like, I'm in Australia. Like I can't even do anything with this. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really good, but it can definitely get overwhelming. Definitely when you get messages, when people are like, can you help me? And or you'll get a message where like, it'll be like someone asking for like genuine, like psychology help. And you're just like, mate, I'm just a dude.
I'm a numpty like
I'm
you,
just
bro.
a dude. Yeah. Like you need to go see someone that's actually going to help you. Like, yeah. So it is like interesting, but it is interesting what it does to your head too. Like you definitely have to sort of like hang on, you're not that big.
Like reality check
yourself.
Like
reality check yourself. Like,
does Kia do that a little bit for you?
Oh, big time, man. Big time. She'll be like, that shit literally, man. Like I'll have all these like amazing, like, you know, because I'm a big dreamer. So I'll be like, yeah, I can't wait. I want to have a studio and I'm going to have a basketball court in my studio. And I'm going to have And she goes like, yeah, that's mad. But could you like maybe help us pay rent first? And I'm like, okay, that's fair enough.
How about you get my birthday gift first?
Literally, man. Like, yeah. And that sort of stuff, and you're just like, oh god, that's
sometimes it's what you need it for.
Yeah, you need to have I call it like you need to have unwavering confidence, but you always need someone that's going to check your shit, because like if you have unwavering confidence and no one to check it, which I feel like at times I tend to have, like whenever I start something, I never think like, oh, this could be, it's always like, nah, this is going to be massive, like can't wait. Then you need someone, which is Kia, to be like, okay, that's cool. But anyway, let's start a small goal here.
So we've got a first birthday party tomorrow.
Yeah. Things like that, man. It's very funny like that. Yeah.
Is there a particular maybe episode or moment that you've done so far that's really memorable for you?
I think that the podcasts I do with guests are really good, and they usually surprise me more than anything. Like I did the episode with Chris, and we were speaking about like, you know, the ultra marathon running, how do you balance training and things like that, and then he sort of springs on me that like about his daughter, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, I didn't even know about this. Like this is crazy. So talking to him about, you know, what they have to do with his daughter, and, you know, making like, he was telling me how, like, he's like, I'm really worried about school and how to navigate that. And we had a massive conversation about it. And I think having those like really like sort of spare of the moment, like really in-depth chats is really good. I did another one as well with Luke Fields, the manager of the Wiggles, talking about his like little sister Bernadette, who was like a victim of SIDS, and how that affected him, like losing his sister. And even though he was so young, but like asking the question, like, you know, did it play on your mind experiencing that with your own kids, and talking to him about how, you know, the first few months of his like firstborn's life, he was just like so sketchy because of that experience. So those moments are like, they're really good, because you obviously like, you don't experience that yourself. Like you can never sort of put yourself in the shoes of someone who's experienced something like that. And then being able to talk one-on-one about it, you're just like, oh wow, this is really cool. Like we all have such different journeys.
That's 100%. That's something I'm learning from this. You kind of always think it, but like, even I had some of my friends on who own businesses, and I'd be like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know. Yeah.
And they're like, we never asked. I'm like, well, why would I ask that specific question?
Yeah,
because it's such a unique question.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And like, I used to do podcast. The guy who I'm actually filming the Keep Showing Up doco with, Paddy, he was one of the first guests on Inner City Hermit. But I remember he said something like 8 years ago. He was like, this is like the definition of mindfulness. Like no phones, you're just chatting, even though like you're recording and everything, there's no outside, like you're just chatting. And I think that's really awesome, especially as like men as well. And because it is something that we don't do very well typically.
No.
And I feel like we're at a stage now where I think a lot of guys do run podcasts, and we're sort of getting to a point where I think people are becoming more and more okay with talking about different things and things like that, which is pretty cool.
I don't know, it was like a meme or like a whatever, and it was like, men can't just hang out and talk. There has to be like a middle object. Like we watch sport and talk.
Yeah,
we play FIFA and talk. Like, but we never just sit.
Oh, I know. The other day I was like, because Kia was working, I had my mate Kurt over, and she was obviously working at home because she consults from home, and we were just like dead quiet. And she like came down. She's like, "What's going on? Like, you guys okay?" And we're just like, "Yeah, we're just vibing. We're just playing COD and sitting in silence. Like we're fully
just hanging out."
Yeah, we're fully okay to do that. She's like, "Oh, that's like really weird that you guys do that." I was like, "Is it? Like, isn't that a good thing? You know what I mean? Being able to sit in silence." But yeah, there is. I've never actually thought about that. There is usually a reason, but why we get together and chat.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, girls sort of just like hanging out.
Yeah. That other meme where it's like, we don't ask like, oh, Tim broke up with his girlfriend, and the girlfriend like, what happened? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many times like that. Like Kira will be like, who's going to this thing tonight? I'm like, I don't know, whoever goes.
We're gonna be there at 7, whatever.
Yeah, are you having dinner? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Like I have never thought about it. Yeah.
Obviously kind of we touched on every man and his dog, even me with my dog and his dog, has a podcast. What for you, like what's a hot tip for someone who's gonna start one?
That's a really good question. I think two things. I think it is important to sort of have a niche, even if you don't have a niche. Like your niche could be something about, you know, it could be a niche as in like your location, or it could be a niche as in the topic you talk about. I feel like the blokes coming together and like just chatting shit is really good, but it's really competitive. And like, you know, that's coming from like two of my best mates run Bloody Brilliant Beers, which is really successful. And they are one of the few podcasts that are just two blokes talking shit. But there are a million other people doing that. So you have to sort of set yourself apart, or you have to have some sort of plan as to why people want to come back and just listen to your shit chat. Because there's nothing wrong with shit chat. It's great. Some of the best podcasts in the world are just people talking. You know what I mean? Like, Call Her Daddy's a big one, like Rogan, things like that. Yeah. And they're just chatting, but you need to have a reason why people come back. Like these two guys from Perth, Jamo and Dylan, I don't really know them. Like I don't know them personally or anything like that. I just follow them. But they do this thing called Who's Punching. And it's it comes up all the time. And
like international people send
it. Big time. Yeah. And like, you know, I've been watching those guys since I had like barely any followers. And I don't listen to the podcast, like, because there's only so many things to listen to, right? But I see their videos all the time, and honestly, when they started doing that, like Who's Punching, like they skyrocketed. And
that's all I see of them. And I haven't seen anything else.
Yeah, and now people want to tune in because they know like that's what happens. So it's just two dudes talking shit, but they have like a reason to come back.
Yeah, it's a good point of difference.
Yeah, if you don't have a reason to come back, then people are kind of like, well, listening to one's great. And, you know, those videos are really clippable. Like, you know, something funny might happen and then all of a sudden that might go viral, but it doesn't equate, virality in videos doesn't equate to listens.
And longevity as well.
Exactly. You really want to double down and have like if you've got 100 people that listen to your podcast, like focus on those 100 people. Like don't worry about the others, because those are the people who are investing the time in you. So they're the ones that you kind of have to focus on.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing too is just don't stop and enjoy it. Like never ever, if you're thinking about starting a podcast and your number one reason is because you want to have financial freedom and make money, you're fucked. Like making money off a podcast is so hard. Like people will tell you that's easy and this, it's not. It's like insanely hard. But just like keep at it and enjoy what you do. Because if you enjoy it personally, you're going to be more likely to keep doing it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I love the interview bit. I hate the editing bit.
Yeah,
I'm like, I just want to be rich and just pay someone to edit it and just sit here and talk and interview people and hear their stories.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the reps, right? Like you always want to be able to do the things that you're going to pay people to do. Like, not that I have anyone doing my stuff, but I know, like, say for example, if like it does get bigger and I pay someone to edit and then all else goes to shit, like say I make a terrible decision and that person leaves or I have to get rid of them or something like that, you don't want to be stuck being like, well, how do I edit a podcast? You want to know those skills before, like always learn the skill before you delegate it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people now, they sort of come in and they try to delegate as much as they can. And you're like, it's really smart to delegate, but you also need to know how to do everything.
You got to understand it.
In case everything fails. Like you're not going to start a podcast and have like young Jamie from the start. Like that comes with time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, we'll shift to parenting now.
Yeah.
More so like some of these questions are some of the cliche questions, but kind of the whole point of your podcast where it's like, it's good to hear that someone else thinks that way, or maybe people who aren't parents yet or about to be parents are like, oh, he thinks the same way as me, and all that sort of stuff. There's sometimes it's just nice to say nice things.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely.
About your kids and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
So the first one, I think you kind of touched on it before. Do you think being a teacher made you a better parent, and or has being a parent helped you be a better teacher?
I think that's a really good question, actually. I think being a parent has made me peel back the profession as to what it is. So for example, like I don't want to raise other people's kids. I want to put all the energy that I potentially have into raising my own kids. So really like going like, you know, being that person that's like, I owe you an education and that's what I owe you. And at times that's tough to do because kids do come to you and tell you problems. But like I definitely now, instead of like, you know, trying to fix the problem myself, I'll sort of pass on to like a head of department or someone who I'm like, that person will help you better than I will, because I don't have the energy right now to really help. So there's definitely those moments. But I think as a teacher, there's definitely things that I'm now like, my kids must know these things. So in other words, like manners, like your kid has to have manners. Like that is such a big one, is like kids with manners get treated differently. You cannot tell me like people will be like, I see all kids. No. If a kid is an asshole, like he gets treated like an asshole. So I'm really big on Skylar, please, thank yous. And it's just like, I feel like manners are something that's almost slipping. Slipping a little bit. Like I'm not saying you have to be like, you know,
a proper English
proper.
gentleman.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, just the amount of times, you know, I'll be at work and, you know, I'll give a kid something and they'll be like, oh, thank you. And I'll be like, oh, thanks for that. And in my head, I'm like, what? Like that should be what that should be what everyone. If someone gives you something, you say thank you.
Yeah.
So manners is a big thing, but I think another thing too is like learning to problem solve. I don't think we let kids. I'm not saying like in dangerous situations, but you got to let your kids struggle a little bit, because if they don't struggle, they don't problem solve. And the kids that do the worst are the kids that can't problem solve.
Spoon fed.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's called like learned helplessness. So knowing that, say for example, you know, I'm editing the podcast, right? I'm like the guy that works for you or something. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. Oh no, I can't do it. And then you go, oh, fuck it, I'll just do it. I'm like learning that if I put this off for long enough, you'll just do it. So that's what the kids do. They'll be like, I'm not touching this assessment. And then they get to the end point. And then all of a sudden I'm like, great, well, I'll just have to sit down and help you. Whereas like, I just don't do that. Like if they're just lazy or don't want to do it, they have to struggle a little bit. And if it means like failing, to be like, oh shit, okay, he's serious. Like I do need to do the work myself. That's a big thing. So now like when I see Sky or even some of my youngest, like doing something that I know that they can do, but I know after 2 failures, they're going to ask me to do it, really being like, okay, no, I know I can get it done quicker, but I want her to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't even care if she doesn't do it properly. I just want her to be like, okay, I need to find a solution to this because, you know, life's filled with problems. Like little problems. Like it could be, I can't find a car space. Oh shit, okay, what are we going to do? Instead of like losing my shit, being like, where am I going to park? What am I doing? Being like, okay, I have the skills to solve this problem. I'm not going to sit here and wait for someone to help me out for it. So like manners and problem solving, they're the 2 things that I've learned from teaching that are just non-negotiables to instill in your kids.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually saw a video just the other day of some kid trying to get on the couch. And the mum went to help and the dad was like, no. You can do it. We've seen him do it 50 times. He just wants you to help him.
Yeah.
And they both just had to sit there and be like, oh.
And it's hard, man. It's hard. Like with my youngest, we're in the I do it phase. So every time I go to do, I do it. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And you know, you have to toe the line because we got to get somewhere. And I know I need to teach someone that she can put on her shoes, but I also need to get here in a second. So you got to like sort of run that race.
How many I do it's does she get?
Literally, yeah, exactly. So like even for me, I'll start like doing something, like getting them ready 5 minutes early because I know that Summer's going to get to the point where I got to put her shoes on and she's going to be like, man, I do it.
Fit.
Yeah, exactly. So just little things like that you sort of pick up on the way as well. And yeah, parenting is one of those things where you really reflect on too, like the positives and the negatives from your own parents as well. Like, you know, I was really lucky and like I had a really good, like my parents were really, really good. They did like things, like they made decisions for me sometimes where I was like, what the fuck? But now as you get older, you're like, that was a good decision. I see why my parents did that.
Good call, mum.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, I guess also, you also cut your parents a little bit of slack too. Like, I mean, like not, if your parents are like, you know, fucked, then obviously a little bit different. But if your parents like, you know, say for example, there'd be times where, I don't know, like you couldn't get somewhere for some reason and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, how did my parents not take me to that? And then you realize like, well, dad's just worked a double shift and mum's done everything around the house. Like the last thing they probably want to do is like take me somewhere. And it's like a one-off, but you know, as a teenager, I'm really pissed off. But as an adult now, I'm like,
of course I didn't want to fucking
take
that.
I get that. Or like, you know, when things got messy around the house, like my mum was notorious for having our kitchen table became like my mum's like storage place. And like in my head, I was like, why does mum do that? Like, why do you put it away? And then I go home to my house and there's a seat in the lounge room that's filled with shit that I need to take upstairs. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the table. That's my mum's table. Yeah, okay, I see that. I get that now, mum. So yeah, little things like that you sort of cut your parents a little bit of slack for as well. But it's very interesting to see what pops up and you're like, oh shit, okay, that's interesting.
Even just being an adult, every now and then you go, I get it.
Yeah.
Like one thing I used to always get in trouble for when we were kids, right? BMX, off you go, be back before the lights. Or it would be, tell me if you're going somewhere different.
Yeah.
And I never would. And then I'd always get in trouble and there'd always be an argument. And now as an adult, I'm like, she just wanted to know I wasn't fucking dead.
Literally.
She just wanted to know where I was.
Yeah.
Like it's so dumb.
And even like, you know, going to parties as a kid too, when you'd go to like, oh, I'm at some random's house and like you'd tell your parents and your parents would be like, well, who's there? Is there an adult there? Like, and now I'm thinking of me with my daughters. Like, I'm going to be at the fucking house in a second. Like if Scarlett's like, oh, you know, me and the girls just decided to go over to so-and-so's house. I'm like, hang the fuck on. Can you like drop your location, please? Just so I know where you are. Like, and you know, do you
think you're in trouble?
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, I'm at the point now where like, well, not now, but eventually it's going to get to the point where you do have to try. You always want to be the point where, you know, if they're in trouble, they can call you. But then being like, I want to rip their fucking head off. Like, is that, I was going to say, is that a good decision? You know, I heard something with just a random podcast. It wasn't about parenting, but I heard that learning doesn't occur if there's emotion involved. So like if your kid's having a tantrum and you're trying to teach them like why they have to wait in line at like a slide, but they're screaming their head off, you just have to diffuse that situation and come back when they're like fine. You know what I mean? Like it's a quote that sort of I now reflect on when I'm like, if I'm like I think it was like yesterday, I think Skylar spilled her milk or something. Or she like drank a cup of milk and then she like couldn't drink the whole thing. So she just went bleh and like put it on the ground. And I was like ready to just like lose it. Cause it was like 7:30, about to go to bed. She's done it. It's on her pants now. And she's real weird about having like wet clothing when she sleeps. So I have to go get new pants. And I was like ready to rip her head off. And I was like, okay, slow down a second, have a breath. Is any learning going to occur right now when she's distraught because she almost choked on milk and it's poured all over her? Like, what's going to happen? I'm going to yell at her. She's going to cry. We're going to wake up in the morning. She's still going to be mad at me, or I'm still going to be, you know, it's like taking that step back before you sort of pull the trigger. Like, there's times where you can pull the trigger immediately. Like, but there's times where you need to be like, and it's like anything, right? Like, if you're feeling agitated at your partner or something like that, and they do something, and in reality, it's not that bad. Like Kia leaving her clothes on the ground or something like that, because, you know, she's very messy because she's got ADHD as well. But like, she's had a massive day at work. If I come home and be like, why the fuck is everything on the floor? Like, what does that achieve? I feel like she now feels terrible. The kids are watching us fight. No one wins. No one wins in that situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually what was one of my questions later, was like, how do you keep your cool in the middle of like I'm going to lose my shit moment?
Oh, dude, it's hard. It's so hard. Like, I have a really short fuse. So like I people always are like to me like, oh, I'm surprised you actually like keep it together in these situations. I was like, fucking barely.
Internally.
Like, internally I'm screaming. But like, you know, it's one of those things too where seeing a psychologist is huge. Like, men are usually just, and I say this blanket term, but just from the people I know, like, we do tend to like shoot first and ask questions later. Like, if something happens, we're like, you know, you get a little bit agitated or whatever. And I think the biggest thing for me trying to keep my cool is like, you always have this idea of being like the hard ass parent, but you realize too that being the hard ass parent all the time is not a good thing. Like, that's not a great thing. So there are times where I have to put my hand out and be like, Kia, I'm about to lose my shit. Like, I need to go have a cold shower or something. And like, we do that. Like, that's what I'll do. I'll jump in a cold shower, or, you know, do something like that, put water on my face. Like, there's all those.
You do the whole like internally count to 10.
Yeah, I do this like thing. I call it like, I worked on it with my psychologist. It's like the circle of control in that moment. So you name 3 things that are inside the circle, 3 things that are out of the circle. So 3 things that are in the circle. If Skylar's really pissing me off, it's like, what I can do, like, I can control how I react. I can control being in the environment, and I can control things like temperature, things like that. Like, I can go put water on my face, do something like that, or even like put my head in the fridge, just to be like the whole polyvagal thing, like give me some heat or some pressure or something like that. What I can't control is the way, like, Skylar, what she's pissed off at. Skylar's day at kindy, something may have happened, or even down to like, you know, her being hungry or something like that. I can't control these things, so there's no point being angry at them. And the things that I can control, you can work with that and be like, right, well, remove yourself from the situation, count to 10 and come back. Like, But that's not me being like, oh, I did this from the start. That came from like 4 years of learning. Like 4 years, there was times where I would just lose my shit at Skylar and she'd be 2. And I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you need to, and Kia would always once again check me and be like, I'd be like, yeah, but she shouldn't be doing that. She'd be like, yeah, but you're fucking 30. Out of this situation, circle of control. You can control how you act. You can't control how a 2-year-old acts. And things like, it's humbling.
And then everything you go, fuck, you're right.
Yeah, and that's
she
the
is
thing.
2 years old.
Exactly. You get those moments where you're like, yeah, it's right. Like, she's 2. She's like, she barely even knows how to like navigate the world yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here mad because she can't put her toys in a box. Like, get the fuck over it.
We all do it though, that's the thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing about not feeling guilty about it, but also like not accepting it. Like, don't just be like, well, I'm just an angry dad. Like, no, you can be better than that. Like, the biggest thing the best thing you can do for your kids is obviously like protect them, guide them, and just love them. Like, you don't have to be that hated guy in the family that everyone's scared of. Like, oh, when dad comes home, like, you're all fucked. You know what I mean? Like, you can still be that guy, but you can still be like caring and nice and, you know, not be a big old, you know what I mean?
Has there been any lessons, I don't know if they're old enough yet, maybe, any lessons that the girls have taught you?
Oh, dude. Like, literally, the amount of learning that has occurred in the last 4 years is crazy. But I think the biggest thing that the girls, and one thing that I talk about on the podcast all the time, that as a dad, like, there are moments where you're playing with your kids or you're doing something and you see that they're so happy and you just like, you simplify everything, right? So I simplify like my afternoons of being like, okay, we'll go for a walk, and I'll just be laughing with the girls, and I'll be like, that's awesome. Like this is it. Like you have everything you've ever wanted. Like life's good. Like stop worrying about what's happening tomorrow, how much money you're gonna make next year. Like, is my job gonna be enough? Am I gonna be like, obviously be concerned about whether you can afford things and stuff like that, but in those moments, just like forget all the shit. Like literally just focus on. Yeah, and I think they've taught me the beauty of being present. You know what I mean? It's like really, like I said, it's very, how do you say it? Like cliche, but they do. Like when you get to a point where you're just like, yeah, it's right. These girls are like the highlight of my day. Why would I spend that time focusing on everything else when I could just be like, right, I'm throwing a frisbee with the girls. Things like that. Things like keeping my cool, but it also like, it's like a blessing and a curse, because I know Skylar does a lot of the stuff that I do and it pisses me off. And you almost get like a bit of a backhand being like, oh, that's why people get annoyed at that. That's really fucking annoying.
Teaching you.
Yeah. Like, you know, there'll be times where I'll be like, Sky will just like, like little thing, like she gets frustrated at things, short fuse. And I'll be like, what are you doing? You sound silly. Like, why are you grunting at that thing? And I'm just like, you know, I just had a fight with my computer because I couldn't get the dimensions of my like canvas right. And I was like, oh, that's where that came from.
She's watching me do that.
Literally. You get really like self-reflective as well about like, so you learn a lot about yourself too. And you learn a lot about the things that piss you off about your kids that are actually your traits. You're like,
and they've watched you do it.
Yeah, you're like, that could be a lot to handle at times. Yeah.
For you and Kia, maybe what are like some key values that you want to like instill in your girls?
Yeah, that's another good one. I think, like, I know Kia's big on like telling the truth. Like Skylar started lying. Like 4-year-olds get to a point where they learn they could get away with things. Like they lie and they're like, oh fuck, like I could just say the wrong thing. And so Kia's really big on like, you know, being truthful and stuff like that, and really being transparent and honest. And I think, you know, we obviously have to model that as well. Like there'll be times where, you know, I might not do something in the day and I'll be like, oh, you know, I didn't do that because blah, blah. And when in reality, I should just be like, sorry, I didn't have time. I'll get it done. You know what I mean? Like things like that. But I think for us too, because we're both very much online, is like trying to keep the girls away from social media.
That was my next question.
For as long, for as long as we can, because like it's not good. There's a reason why, you know, everyone's pushing to have the social media ban till 16. Like 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, like they're in their like zero life. You know what I mean? Like they don't have much. They're just learning things, and like, you know, they're seeing other people like live these unrealistic lives, and they're not smart enough yet to realize that it's not real. It's fake. Yeah, you know, they just see it for face value. And I think for the girls, like one thing I guess Kia and I are like really transparent with Sky, like even with like her being so young, is, you know, if I post something, like she loves looking at the videos and stuff like that, but being like, oh, but that wasn't all of Daddy's day. Like I also had to do this and this and this. So when she sees like, you know, a fun video of, or like when we go to say like, you know, we go to like the Wiggles or something like that, we get invited there, and you really have to sort of say to Sky, like, look, we're very lucky that we got this. Like Dad got this because he works really, really hard, and like, you know, we got this given to us, so we need to make sure we're on our best behavior. Like things like that, like making sure she's aware that, you know, things don't just get handed out to you, which is really important. But I think, you know, my advice also to parents is, even though not all of us are on social media or understand social media, like have like just a baseline knowledge of what social media can do and like the reach that it has, or, you know, who could be following people. Like there's a statistic where like, you know, 70% of people who watch like children on social media in videos are like men. Yeah. Which when you think about that, like, you know, I'm definitely not someone, like, I'm not going to be a family Instagrammer where I do like, oh, look at all that family stuff and like, you know, interviewing the kids and stuff like that. I thought about doing that, but now I'm just like, I'll have the kids in like an idle video or something like that, but nothing where it's just them on screen.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, like, they're sort of getting a bit,
they're getting older.
One is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, where's the line of having them in it and not, and then fuck, do we have to think about it?
Yeah.
That's the world we're in.
You know, and there's that, I can't remember, there's on Netflix there's a doco called Kidfluencers, and it's about it's a disgusting story. It's gross. And it ends up the mum and the kid were there. It's gross. But anyway, like that is very true. Like I would hate. Yeah, you ever seen the Simpsons episode about baby stink breath?
Oh, I can't remember it.
Bart gets emancipated because Homer spent all the money that Bart made on the commercial.
Nah.
Okay, so
I probably have.
Yeah, there's like elements of that too. Like if your kids are like, you know, one of the central points to your content, like they're almost like I'm
paid employee.
very careful with how I say this because I do know people that are like this, and it's more power to them. This is just my personal thing, but I never want my kids to be the focal point of my brand, like because they are going to get older. Like I can't imagine Skylar at 14 wanting to be in daddy's videos anymore. You know what I mean? Because I don't want her. Like you're a teenager. I don't want anyone. You're blacklisted from my videos unless you know you're like, oh no, I'll be in that video. That's fine. So. And you never want it to be like, because if you do start making money off it, you don't want to be like, your kids are just got home from soccer training, but we need to film that video of us. Remember, like you don't want to be that guy. Like you never want to rely on your kids for your own cash. You know what I mean? So, and like we're really strategic with it too. Like I'm aware that I get to do cool things, and there's obviously money there. So putting a decent amount of money away, hopefully for the girls to be like, no, like I did this and you helped me do this. So when you're
now we're gonna go to Disneyland.
Yeah, when you're 25, I'll give you this and you can buy a house. Like hopefully, do something good with the money. But obviously trying to set them up as well if it is going well. So. But yeah, it's an interesting one with kids on social media because it's.
I don't even want to think about that.
Neither do I. Man. If you know, right? Like there's some sick people out there, and once again, social media is just like the Wild West. Like once it's on there, it's on there. You don't know where the video is going to end up. So I'm very conscious of that.
Even like take away the whole that world. Yeah. The toxicity world of like, there's women my age that are like, I need to get off social media for a bit because I keep seeing beauty videos of like standards that I'm not, and I'm like, fuck, we're 38.
I know,
it's in our head. These 14-year-old girls and boys,
they just don't
see, and like they're gonna get so like twisted.
The big thing at the moment is like I feel like with young boys, like not young boy, but like teenage boys, is like the gym, obviously, like that culture of like the meal prepping and stuff like that, and being really rigid, like. Kids are doing that earlier, and like I'm not against any of that. Like I think discipline and stuff like that's really good, but as a kid, you got to be a kid. Like
eat some macas, bro.
Yeah, just not even like do that, but just like be a little less rigid. Like you're 14 years old. Like try and find your own way. Like find out who you are, and like not getting identities from online. You know what I mean? Like because they're fake identities.
Our identities were like football players.
Yeah, exactly right. And you look at that too, and you start to realize like, even some of the football players that we looked up to, they weren't top-notch human beings.
But we didn't know that.
We didn't know that.
We didn't see it.
We just saw the 80 minutes where they were on the field and they were like, really, really good. You don't see the other half. And, there's plenty of situations like that. I just think the fabrication of social media for kids isn't good. As adults, you can kind of, navigate it a little bit better. Be like, that's not real. Yeah, that's not real. That's not real. There's no way that happened. Yeah. Whereas kids, they don't know that. Like they just think that's that. And
what about because girls are too young for socials now. What about just tech, like iPad kids?
I hate iPads, bro. And like whatever. If you use them, like go for it. But I'm just not a personal device person for my kids. Like I just
so they don't have one at all.
No, they don't have one at all.
What about what did you do on that fucked up Bali flight situation? No, was it Bali?
Oh, the one from Singapore.
And you got stuck for ages.
Yeah, bro. Oh no, planes, iPads all day.
Okay,
all day. And to be honest, like our kids travel quite well because they're like the kid that never has junk food. Like we go on a flight for like 6 hours, and I'll give like Skylar an iPad, and she's just zoned the fuck. And we're like, we're like, that's cool. You do that now. Like get the 6 hour, like eat as much junk food as you want for now, because we just want you to like survive on the plane. And but I sort of like break it down to the kids still do screen time. Like they still watch Peppa Pig and like Bluey and all that shit. Like definitely, we never stop that. But it's more like it's on like the family TV, so they don't have control over it. Like we have full control over what they see, everything like that. And more often than not, if we're watching Bluey, like we're all sitting down and watching it, which is like I feel like that type of screen time is fine. I just see the way Skylar is on like a person.
They're all like that, though.
They're just zoned in. It's like
Yeah.
like they just like they don't care about anything. It's just like a gray area around them that just they don't give a shit. And then when you take it off them, Skylar's behavior's fucked.
Just like crack. Like,
Yeah, it is. Honestly, like the kids are worse behaved when they're coming off like screen time. Like even when we're watching like a movie we're watching a Disney movie on like Friday night or something like that, getting them to sleep that night is almost not even worth putting the movie on because they just...
Is that new movie? I saw this thing. It was like, it's not a study, but like a parent commented it, and then 50 million parents were like commenting the same thing. And they were like, I changed my kids from watching new generational
old stuff
to the 90s stuff.
Absolutely.
And they're like, I noticed a behavioral change.
Big time. We started watching because Kia loved Rugrats as a kid, and for us, it's nostalgic too. Like we love sitting down, and my big thing is like Ghibli movies.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, dude, I love Ghibli movies, and like just the calming. Ghibli is just calming.
They're slow.
It's so slow. It's so like even when we watch movies like Despicable Me, great movie. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
Love it.
Great movie, but they're just like shit, just like, and the kids just get bombarded with it. It's literally like being in a pokey room, like, and so there's definitely times where the older stuff is definitely a lot better, but there's also like things that are just like way over the top too, like people complaining that their kids are misbehaving because they watch Peppa Pig.
Yeah,
and you're like, dude, like,
You're just not parenting.
yeah, I was gonna say, your kid's an asshole because you're an asshole. Like, you can't blame a fictional pig as to why your kid says fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it goes. So, I think it's all in moderation, right? Like, everything's in moderation. There's times where I will put the TV on just so I can get the housework done, but I'd never want it to be like, oh, I want to watch the footy, so here's an iPad. Like, I would rather just be like, okay, watch the footy with me, and then after 15 minutes when they're over it, like, play a game with them while I'm watching it or something like that.
Play
Like,
that.
yeah, exactly. And we do like a lot of card games. Like Skylar's just started playing, like we play like Eyes Up, where it's like all the cards are face up. Yeah, it's a lot better. And like she loves that sort of stuff. So, I think but also at the same time, Kira and I barely watch TV. Like I'm either gaming or I'm listening to music. I very rarely, like I never watch Netflix purely because I know what I'm like. Like if I start watching like Adolescence or something, I'll be there for 5 hours binging the whole series. Yeah. Like I can't be trusted. You know what I mean?
That's the proper ADD.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
What would you say? Because obviously everyone gets patches where you're just busy as.
Yeah.
You've had patches and then you get in your rut. We talked about it before the podcast, and you get out of the rut.
Yeah.
Just get back in the wagon, all this sort of stuff. What would you say to someone who, whether it's a podcast or some other passion project, whatever it is, how do they get started? Best thing, and it's probably going to be annoying for people to hear, but just start. Like even if you have no idea, I've learned every time management. Probably
big time. Like I would say the best way to start is obviously find something that you really love. Like that's rule one. If you don't love it, like if you just think that I'm going to get into this niche because it's popping off at the moment or something like that. It's not longevity wise, it has to be something you love. If it's something that you love, you're definitely going to do it. You want to look at it as you're doing it for you, not for anyone else. So my biggest thing is just get in front of the camera and talk. You would be surprised how many people get to the point where they need to talk in front of a camera and they're just like frozen, like deer in headlights. Whereas if you just, it's all reps, right? Like if you just constantly even if you're not uploading it, just like pull your phone out, start talking to it, get really like natural with it or something like that. But also don't let things like video editing limit you. It's almost awesome to film something and then have this blank canvas in front of you with all this footage and be like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, but let's fuck around and see how this goes. You know what I mean? So just being open to learning while doing is a big thing, and knowing that you're going to be so shit when you start.
Oh yeah.
It's literally like anything. I always have wanted to do Muay Thai boxing forever. And I'm at the point now where I'm just not actually fight, just train, just because I love MMA. And you always, when you are really into something, you want to have a little bit of experience so you know what they're doing. But it's one of those things where I'm I just need to start. I just need to find a gym and start. It's like anything.
It's just scary.
Oh, absolutely, it's scary.
Walk to the MMA gym.
Oh yeah, dude, big time. And it's one of those. Kia asked me the other day, how often do you think you push yourself out of your comfort zone? And I'm like, well, being on camera was always out of my comfort zone. until it wasn't out of my
Yeah,
comfort zone.
true.
And now it's just like I can put a camera on and not even know it's there, or like look directly into one when I'm doing like a solo podcast and feel like it's just another person. So I think, you know, just jump on the horse and hopefully see what happens, because more often than not, you might even deviate from different things, but you're always going to learn these skills. And like the social media stuff, you'd be surprised where it like pops up. Like I'm getting work at school now, like time at school to do social media at school.
For the school.
Yeah, for the school. And, you know, I didn't do a uni course or anything. Well, not that there's a uni course, but
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. It was just purely because I've been doing it for so long. Like you sort of know where things should go or how things should be edited or what's going to do really well because you've just seen it happen over and over again.
Yeah, reps.
Just it's like the most annoying advice to hear is the fact that when people are just like, just do it, but I don't know.
You got to rip the Band-Aid off.
That's it. Like, you know, and you don't even bank things. Like I know so many people too that are like, oh, you know, I've got like 12 videos ready to post. And I'm like, fucking post them. Like just keep
They're
creating.
scared.
Yeah, they're scared. And like, I get that. It sucks. Like to be working on something and be really proud of something and post it and have someone go like, that was fucking shit.
Or no one see it.
Yeah, or that. Like, I would argue that, you know, someone saying that it sucked is like nowhere near as bad as no one seeing it. Like, because that's like an internal, like, oh shit, that sucks.
Yeah, you'd rather have someone be like, oh, your lighting was shit.
Oh,
Cool, now I need to change lighting.
Yeah, dude. Or like, you know, someone would be like, someone would jump on and call you an idiot for like a weird take on parenting that you have. And you're just like, well, that's my experience. So you almost have to have like a bit of, I guess, resilience, but also understanding of like other people, that all kids are different too. So like they might see it a different way. But there's nothing bad about people commenting, even if it's negative, because they'll just
Dog's just doing big stretch.
Yeah. There's nothing bad about like people critiquing you, because you get used to it. Like I know so many people, and it sucks. Like so many people who make great content, but someone will jump on and be like, "You fucking suck" or whatever like that, and then they stop doing it, and you're like, you're gonna let that random bot account dude like be the one that stops you from doing what?
It's tricky, but I think the more time you spend online and doing this and posting this, you also see like, you just go to a meme page, right?
Yeah.
And it's a made up meme of nobody.
Yeah.
People will be arguing about it.
Yeah,
And like people just want to be angry, or people just want to be fun.
Yeah. Oh man, the amount of times like I have memes go viral and there's like 1,000 comments of people just arguing shit, and you're just like, I don't care about this argument, but like, you know, the 1,000 comments is pushing. Yeah, I think that's another thing too. Like never worry if you're getting like negative comments, because any comment pushes the algorithm. And you're like, I know you might get 3 negative ones about something you said, but the fact that it's being pushed now, you'll find 10 people who agree with you. And so like those people could potentially become your audience. So it's like, yeah, the haters are like the best, because they're like, you know, that they're just sitting behind a keyboard, depressed, hating their fucking job. Like, you think about the people that comment bad shit online, like not one of them is fucking doing well. You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever found parenting to be a little bit isolating?
yes and no. Like, yes at the start, but I think as you get more into it and you get more on, it's like anything, I guess, as you become more proficient in it, it takes less time. And then also when you start to understand like your kid's schedule and things like that, you can start like locking in different things like, you know, I play futsal on a Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night I play futsal with my mates. So like that's a bit of socializing. But for us, it's like calendars. Like if Kia's got an event on, it's in the calendar. And then when I'm like, okay, do I have time for this event? I'll check the calendar. Oh, Kia's out. I've got to be at home. But I think that it's isolating if you let it be isolating.
Yeah.
So like you could most definitely be a parent that just stays home all the time. And I can completely understand people that do that, because it's fucking effort to get the kids out of the house. But, you know, the only way you're going to fix it is if you fix it. Like nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you really want to go out and be social, like understand that whenever you go out, like you just can't, it's got to be more structured. It's got to be like, I have an hour to go have coffee with my friends, not I can go have coffee with my friends. They then want to go for a run, so I can just tag along with that. Like those are the things. They're more
Single versus I was like, it sounds like my life.
And it's a spontaneous thing. And I know there's a lot of parents that sort of get like, you know, I guess really, how do I say, like envious or like really soured by like people who don't have kids. Like I've never once gotten mad at someone who doesn't have kids. Like, what does that do? Like, oh yeah, but it must be nice. You have so much time. you decide to have kids.
I was gonna say,
Like, it's like, I never once complain. Like, I'll complain and be like, oh, yeah,
jokingly.
I'm gonna go bike riding with Skylar this afternoon. But
you
like,
secretly love it.
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I love that
yeah.
shit. Like, and you know, I know so many single people who would kill to do what I'm doing. Like, and that just haven't found the right person yet or something like that. Like, it's kind of funny having this, like, I guess, like, different sides and being like, why can't we just, like, my best mate Curtis doesn't want kids. And it's like, how does that affect me? Like, whereas so many people go up to him like, oh, you don't want kids? Why not? Like, what's wrong? You're just like, dude doesn't want kids. Leave him alone. Like, I'd rather someone put their hand on and say, I don't want kids, than 12 years down the track when this unloved child comes into my classroom and I have to, like, redo all the trauma that they've had because their parent didn't want them. Like, isn't it better to just be like, I don't think I'd be a good parent. I don't want kids. Like,
it's such an interesting.
Sorry.
No, check that.
I just want to see it. Make sure kids will.
Yeah.
Nah, we good.
We'll probably be like 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
but no stress. I'm just making sure she's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So speaking of sort of pre-kids, post-kids, was there anything, say maybe when Kia was pregnant the first time and you were like full worried about it? Like, how am I going to do X, or what if X happens, right? And then you have a kid and now you're like, that's fucking dumb. Completely irrelevant.
For sure, like, there's plenty of things like that. Like, I used to have, like, this big fear when someone was born of, like, I would take Skylar to kindy and be like, how am I going to do this for 2 kids? And you just do it. Like, you just, when there's, like, the wheel doesn't stop moving. You know what I mean? Like, you can either, like, just deal with it, or you can be like, oh no, like, I'm stuck. I need help. I need this. I need that. So there was definitely times where I was like, I don't know how I was going to balance that. Like, I know, but a lot of it was like social stuff. Like, oh, how am I going to go to the gym 5 times a week? You're probably not. You're probably going to have to do it. You're probably going to have to do it 3 times. Like, and maybe don't follow like 20-year-old fitness influencers when you're 35. You know what I mean? Like,
with no kids and no job.
You're in different areas. Like, there's no way that you're going to be able to match what they can do because they just have more time. So I think just welcoming the change and letting it, I guess, take you, like letting it just, you know, you're going to be nervous about things, just accepting it and going, okay, well, when the baby gets here, like, it's going to be fine. Like, I think, it was on Newt Scamander said it he's like, those who worry suffer twice. Yeah. So like, the baby's not even here yet. You're worrying about something that might not even occur. You know what I mean? So just be open to the fact that there are going to be challenges and things that are going to be hard, but you're more than capable of dealing with it. And more often than not, if you're thinking about the problems, you're going to deal with the problems fine because you already know that problem could occur. So when it does happen, you're fine.
What about your first one with Skylar? Were you concerned, worried, be like, oh my God, I'm going to be a dad, but I don't know how to do this? Because all my friends have said it's so funny how you have a baby, like you go to the hospital, whatever, and then after 2 days or whenever you're allowed to leave, they go, okay, here's your baby, bye now. And everyone goes, the fuck do we do
literally
now?
And that's a real thing. Like, I remember the time when the nurse just shut the door and left us in the room with like Skylar, and I was like, shit, like, you just have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you tend to just like, apparently it goes one of 2 ways. You either like shut down or you just do it. And like, it's very common to have both. And just because you shut down early doesn't mean you're going to be like a terrible dad. It just means like you're very overwhelmed. But I think doing what you think is right, like, you know what I mean? Like, say for example, like, if, you know, you can hear the baby like doing a poo, just be like, don't sit there and be like, oh, is it, just get up, go check. Like, you'll be surprised how much you already know how to do when you just start doing them. You know what I mean? It's like riding a bike.
Like common sense kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
there's so much common sense in parenting, dude. Like, so much.
What's been the hardest season of parenting so far?
Last year was the hardest because we had 2 under 2. So and Summer was in like very much in her potato phase. So in other words, like, she couldn't walk around, she couldn't do anything. She was just a blob. So I think dealing with that whilst also dealing with like a toddler is very difficult to do at times. Like, there's times where, you know, Skylar will be up wanting to do something and it's just me, and you can't just leave Summer like laying on the ground. You have to like pick her up and explain to Skylar, like, no, I can't run around with you at the moment because I do have Summer here with me. And I think Skylar, like, it shows how much growth Skylar has, I think, when the second one came, because she was realizing, like, oh, I can't really rely on mum and dad all the time to keep me entertained. Like, I kind of have to do it myself. And she got really independent too. So we're kind of coming out the other side now, and you can sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is really nice. But, you know, you just wait. It's like peaks and valleys, right? So, like, we're getting out of the toddler phase, but Skylar starts school next year. So we got that whole mountain to climb too. It's never done. I don't think it ever will be. And I think accepting that there's just different phases of parenting. It's just like, that's just the way it is. And you're never going to be finished. Like, I still like have problems that I talk to my parents about all the time, and they're like 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like things like that.
Yeah. All right, we're into our final 3 moments.
Yeah.
Same 3 questions we ask everyone.
Shoot.
The first one, I normally ask like a career highlight, but I'll spice it up today.
Yep, go.
And I'll ask, like, I think you sort of said it before, but I see there's another one. A moment where you're like, this is what it's all about. This is parenting. Has there been maybe a different one for you?
Oh man, there's been a lot. I think it's times. I actually had like a moment the other day, and I took a photo of Kia, who was reading to the girls. And I was just sitting on the couch, and we were like, you know, the lighting was really nice. We had like our purple lights on. It was real chill. We were listening to like nice music while reading.
Oh, I think I saw that. Did you post it?
Yeah, I think I did.
I saw that one.
And anyway, it was just like one of those situations where I was just like, in this moment right now, there is nothing to worry about. Like, everything is here. The girls are here. The girls are safe. They're learning. We're as a family. Like, I think those moments are really big. But I think the best moments I've had, I reckon, were just when the girls were born. So, like, the girls were born, Kia was in recovery, so they sent me out with, like, it happened the same way twice. And you just have these, like, little quiet moments with this like new baby. And you, like, look at their face, and I still can, like, see, really cliche here, but I can still see, like, their baby faces in their faces now. Like, and it's really, really sweet knowing that, you know, I'm seeing, like, these girls grow up, and I still see them as like babies. Like, I think those are moments where you're just like, parenting is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, parenting's so cool.
What's a piece of advice that's been given to you that's really like
Solid.
Yeah.
In regards to parenting, I reckon probably the one around like learning doesn't occur with emotion. Because that really, like, that was something
Even I was like, I'm going to do that for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really did worry about how much I was going to struggle with, like, tantrums and things like that, because I do struggle with, like, you know, keeping my cool, which is ironic as a teacher who deals with kids all the time. But at the same time too, like, that's also helped me in so many areas of life. Like, if I'm talking to someone at work and I'm trying to get something done with them, and I can see that they're agitated or something like that, I know that I'm like, there's no point here pushing an agenda, because they clearly, when you're angry or you're sad, you're not comprehending anything. So, like,
Just pissed off.
yeah, you just need to, it might be a time that I go, okay, instead of working on this, I could just be like, okay, hey, like, are you all good? Like, is there anything I can do to help you? Things like that. Like, and that helps, that falls into parenting as well.
Nice. And then last one, what's a piece of content you've consumed recently that you think everyone should consume? Whether it's personal, parenting, whatever.
Oh, I just finished reading Assassin's Creed. Great book. Finished reading Lord of the Rings. Great book. But that's just me at the moment. But, like, best piece of content I would say is, I think, Two Doting Dads. It's a podcast by Matty J and this guy called Ash Wicks. Really good, just overall podcast around parenting. If you're looking for like another parenting podcast, that's not Cool Dad Collective.
Yeah.
That one's really good. But I also love just seeing the Rory McIlroy stuff recently. Like, there's a video of him where he gets his daughter to putt in the green.
I saw that one.
And it's just like seeing his face, like when she got it in, was just like pure joy. And that was it just summarized parenting for me. You know what I mean? It just like gave me like, this guy's about to win the Masters, but he's more excited about the fact that his daughter hit a putt than winning the Masters. Like, that stuff's really cool.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, man. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey,
I
and your
love it,
thoughts,
man.
and your parenting, hot tips, and all that sort of stuff. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I love
Bit of
it,
a yarn
man.
today. I love
it's
it.
good. I love what you're doing, man. That's why I was so keen to come on. I love the podcast of just like talking to people in different areas. I think it's so good. I think it's so underrated. Like, how I don't think like there's a lot of podcasts around like just talking, but I think this sort of one of talking and breaking things down is so good. I think it's really important, man.
But yeah, thanks for coming on.
No dramas at all, brother. No dramas at all.